ABLAZE. Fade in. Interior market, evening. Stalls here are cramped tightly together, full of wares clearly having been haphazardly added over the years. A compressed line of patrons snakes away from a large clockwork-style register at one end. Over the exit, a thick bronze plaque shows an equal sign and the words, "Equal with each other, equal with God." The grubby faces of people in line look dull, bored and creased with dirt. Burlap, overworn leather, and thick jean material smeared with soot dominate the attire. Kalinda, 18, sultry and dark, eyes constantly scanning the room, and her sister Zoey, 15, slightly pimpled and awkward, shuffle forward, the next in line. As they reach the front, Zoey snatches a pack of cigarettes and a small metal lighter, placing them with their items. Kalinda shoots her a nasty look. Exterior, downtown street, evening. Kalinda and Zoey spill out onto a crowded street. Citizens push through dirty steampunk avenues amidst wood and brass buildings stained by coal smoke. Official-looking equal signs are welded on most buildings. Kalinda flips up the collar of her long brown coat and grabs Zoey's hand a little too tightly.
What? They're for Dad. You don't have to do anything. I bought a lighter.
Zoey pats one of the cigarettes out of the pack. Kalinda tries to grab it from her, but Zoey moves away quickly. They pass a torn banner with stiff, bold typeface. The collective urges you to report persons with special abilities to police. Equal with each other, equal with God.
So you want to be like Dad now?
No. I just want to blow smoke.
Kalinda gives her a hard look. A panting man suddenly runs between the sisters at a rapid clip. 2 policemen in pursuit, a chase already in motion. As the panting man picks up speed, tiny sparks of lightning emanate from his heels. The policemen, large equal signs ornamenting their uniforms, tackle him to the ground. Kalinda and Zoey pull their eyes away and increase their pace, attempting to act normal. Kalinda snatches the cigarette out of Zoey's mouth before she can spark the lighter.
No, you don't.
Exterior, downtown park, night. A crowd forms in the small city park. An elderly woman moves towards the girls carrying a basket of orange daylilies. Kalinda accepts a bouquet and gives the woman a coin. She turns to Zoey, holding out the blooms.
I'll trade you the flowers for the cigarettes. It's a good deal.
Zoey laughs. Grungy workers done for the day press together to look at something in the middle of the paved pavilion.
They're for Dad. He'll smoke them. You wasted your money.
The girls move slowly, slightly curious about the gathering people. A few older ladies skirt around them to walk over to the square, smiling at Kalinda's flowers as they pass. One of the women is missing an eye.
You could give the flowers to her.
Kalinda looks at the flowers and smiles softly.
If you don't want them, I might keep them. They dress up my room.
Zoey rolls her eyes.
Why? You're fancy now? Dad won't like it. It's wasteful.
You can hear the muffled beginning of her performance as a loud voice tries to quiet down the gathered masses.
Fine.
Kalinda moves towards the show.
But only to get you to shut up. Every now and then we could use something vivid in this city of soot.
Suddenly, a hula hoop on fire flies up into the sky out of the center of the crowd. The audience oohs and ahs with a few people shrinking back. Intrigued, Kalinda pushes her way into the crowd, almost leaving Zoey behind. Kalinda watches a group of 4 fire dancers work the crowd. A squat man in a leather vest uses a fire whip, teasing the group with how close he can get the blaze to his fellow performers. Peggy, a tall woman with a dozen stubby braids, tosses the burning hula hoop once more into the air. Flint, a young teenager with shaggy hair, whips 2 poi balls red with flame around his body with a flick of a wrist. The crowd loves it. They clap with excitement. Kalinda stands, entranced, her mouth almost slightly agape. Zoey pulls on Kalinda's arm, trying to get her to leave. Marilyn, 22, curvy, in tailored trousers and a lace-up corset, oozing charisma, pulls out a long baton. She taps it against Peggy's hoop and it ignites. She twirls the baton, moving around the crowd's inner edge. Kalinda locks eyes with her, causing Marilyn to smile and giving a flirtatious wink. Marilyn throws the baton straight to Kalinda. The audience gasps as Kalinda catches it with ease, no fear in her eyes. Kalinda laughs and throws Marilyn her bouquet. Flint spins his poi balls faster and faster, taking center stage, the fire kissing his body. All eyes shift to Flint, except for Marilyn, who keeps her gaze locked on Kalinda as the flame from her baton seems to dance on her lips and grow larger with her breathing. Zoey elbows her in the ribs, hard. Kalinda tosses the baton back to Marilyn, a sad smile on her face. She takes Zoey's hand as they push their way out and away. Kalinda glances back to see Marilyn's eyes following her retreat. The women hold eye contact.
Cut it out. Seriously. I'll cry.
Kalinda straightens up. She makes a point to stare forward.
You should never cry in public.
No more fire. It tempts you.
I was fine.
You were practically glowing. Why do you think she threw it to you?
A dusty gust of wind kicks up, bringing soot into the girls' faces. They both devolve into a coughing fit. Kalinda grabs Zoey, pulling her behind a tall fence. Kalinda pulls her coat up to try to cover her face as small fireballs puff out of her mouth with each forced exhale.
Does it ever hurt?
Kalinda shakes her head no. Her coughing dies down.
You good?
Zoey looks around to see if Kalinda's power has been spotted. They appear to be in the clear. Kalinda turns Zoey's face towards her, checking it for tears.
I'm fine. Let's go.
The two continue their journey home. Interior, Kalinda's room, night. Kalinda lies on her bed in her small, featureless room. She listens to her father and sister doing dishes downstairs.
It's such a help, Zoey.
She pulls heavy brown curtains across her only tiny window. In the dark, she blows small fireballs into the air. Exterior, downtown street, day. Kalinda walks briskly down the street, shopping list in hand, approaching the entrance to the market. A few monks with equal signs on their tunics pass. She keeps her eyes forward. Marilyn steps out with a wrapped parcel. Her face lights up.
You! I owe you a gift.
Kalinda blushes.
I'm not sure what you mean.
The flowers. They were very grand. I want to give you something.
Marilyn begins to unlace the ties on her bundle of goods. People cast suspicious looks their way as they block the flow of pedestrian traffic.
I don't need a gift, really.
Because you already have one?
Kalinda shoots her a warning look, danger in her eyes. Marilyn moves closer, dropping her volume.
I wouldn't tell anyone, really. I know another Sunchild, like you.
Please stop. I don't know what you're talking about.
Marilyn puts her arm around her shoulder with some force.
Come with me, and I'll shut my trap.
Kalinda attempts to resist, but her heart isn't in it. She allows Marilyn to direct her away from the market. Exterior, bridge, tented camp, day. On the dusty outskirts of the city, a smattering of embroidered burlap tents have been set up under the shade of a high bridge, each one covered in designs of flowers, vines, flames, and waves, intricately sewed into the fabric. Marilyn chats happily now that her and Kalinda are practically alone on the street. Kalinda continues to cast a wary eye at the few other pedestrians headed to and fro.
And that's why she doesn't use the hoop on her forehead anymore. Her hair still hasn't grown out.
As they reach the camp, Marilyn gestures to Peggy, who sits quietly reading a beaten-up dime novel.
But you shouldn't bring it up. She's sensitive.
Peggy looks up, touching the ends of her short pigtails.
It's growing back.
Flint pops his head out from behind a tent, a needle and thread in hand, a couple of straight pins held tight in his lips. He waves. Kalinda waves back.
This is Peggy, and my brother Flint. Lev was going to go find our fifth member, Hannah. She wanders off a lot. Guys, meet Kalinda.
Flint nods to her, pins still clasped in his mouth.
Your show was really something. It's burned in my brain.
Peggy laughs happily at the pun.
You joining us? You have talent.
Kalinda looks down at her feet. Marilyn waves Peggy off.
Oh, come on. We all saw. Flint's a Sunchild, too. You guys make the best fire dancers.
Kalinda looks at Flint with curiosity. She turns to Marilyn.
Your brother has abilities?
Marilyn laughs. She rests down on a wooden stool and begins to unwrap the parcel, slowly untwining the string.
Why do you think we call him Flint? Never need a match with him around.
Really? I didn't see anything.
Snap of a finger.
What about you?
2 in 1 family's crazy rare. I'm a plain Jane.
Kalinda raises an eyebrow at Marilyn and gives her a look from head to toe, checking her out. Marilyn laughs again.
You could join us, you know.
I don't talk about the fire. And I don't use it.
Marilyn pulls 2 small, arced fire fans, unlit, out her parcel, handing one to Kalinda. She waves the other slowly.
Our last show is tonight. Come. See if anything sparks your interest.
Marilyn bats her eyelashes at Kalinda. Kalinda smiles. Interior Kalinda's room, night. Kalinda, hair pulled up in a delicate twist, sneaks out of her bedroom window, fire fan unlit in hand. Exterior courthouse steps, night. The fire show is in full swing, taking over the front of the imposing building. Kalinda joins the audience, eyes reflecting the flames as she pushes closer to the action. Marilyn juggles 3 blazing batons in the center of the ring of patrons, her forehead creased in intense focus. The fire whip slides past Flint with a sizzling crack as he dances with his poi balls. Peggy and a freckled woman with red hair both use flaming hula hoops in flawless sync. The 5 performers are practiced and perfect. Marilyn tosses a baton to Peggy, who catches it, her hoops still spinning. She tosses the other 2 to Freckles, who begins to throw them into the air with a methodic flow. Marilyn spies Kalinda and whistles loudly. The crew all extinguish their props except for Freckles, who continues to juggle, adding Peggy's baton. Marilyn addresses the crowd.
Are you enjoying the show?
The assembled group claps and cheers. Flint walks around with a small metal drum collecting donations of coins and bills.
Let me show you the way some of our tools work. All things being equal, these are easy skills to learn.
Marilyn pulls out her fire fan. She gestures to Kalinda, whose face breaks out into a large smile.
My friend can help me demonstrate.
Kalinda walks into the circle with her fan, waving awkwardly.
She may seem shy, but she is the best at the technique of fire breathing that I have ever seen.
Some people murmur, impressed. Kalinda's eyes go wide.
Now, fans first. The ends here are riveted wicks, powder-coated.
Marilyn and Kalinda tap their fans against one of Freckles' batons, igniting them. Marilyn twirls hers in the air, and Kalinda follows suit. The fans swim together in the darkness. Kalinda watches her prop, dazzled by the arc of flames. She grabs Marilyn's hand and gives it a tight squeeze. The squat man relights his whip and cracks it in the air.
Lev's whip snaps up lamp oil.
Marilyn pulls out a jug with XXX on it.
Here's the special alcohol that fire breathers use. How about it?
Kalinda looks unsure. Flint faces her and risks a small snap of his fingers, a tiny flame growing there. He lights a large fire staff, smiling. Kalinda takes the jug from Marilyn to great fanfare. She pretends to take a swig of the liquid, sets the jug on the ground, and walks a few paces away from it.
Smart lady. Safety first, folks. That stuff is highly flammable.
Kalinda releases a giant fireball into the night. The crowd erupts in cheers. 3 more spheres of flame dance across the sky as the rest of the fire crew pick up their instruments and begin to dance, keeping Kalinda front and center. Interior Kalinda's room, night. Kalinda crawls back in through the window, still smiling, soot on her face. Zoey lies coiled on top of her bed, asleep. Next to the bed sits a silver flower statue that appears to have been molded by hand. The smile drops from Kalinda's face. She cradles the sculpture, studying it. She snuggles up next to her sister to sleep. Interior Kalinda's room, early morning. Kalinda quietly puts a few items into a knapsack. Zoey wakes up to see her struggling to put the flower statue in her bag.
You don't have to take it.
It's amazing. I want to.
Kalinda sits down on the bed next to her.
You could come with me.
That would be a mess without me. And I'd miss him too much.
Kalinda looks at Zoey and tries not to cry. Zoey's breath catches. 3 small silver tears slowly move down her cheek. She collects them, rolling them into a ball.
Here. This is easier to carry.
Kalinda takes the gift and wraps her sister in a big embrace. Exterior, Kalinda's house, early morning. Kalinda walks down the porch steps and looks back at Zoey, who leans against the house. Zoey's eyes are dry. She smiles at Kalinda, alone on the early morning street.
I'll miss you. And Zoey, no smoking.
I'd say the same to you, but...
Kalinda laughs. She blows a fireball into the air, then walks through the small cloud of smoke that follows. Fade out.